We have a microphone here, if anybody needs it. You've got one right there, right, a question right there.
I had the misfortune to talk to someone on the phone yesterday while I was making calls for John.
Thank you for
And
doing
she
it.
said, why would I vote for a millionaire who talks about poverty? And I said, well, people who are running for president have got to have money. And he's a man who knows about poverty, but I didn't know what answer to give, really.
Well, I think that probably with the exception of Dennis Kucinich and Joe Biden, I think most everybody is in the Democratic side and the Republican side. Nobody's hurting in this group. And the truth of the matter is that if you have been successful, and John has been successful, all on his own dime. I mean, his dad worked in the mill and, was worried about how to pay for health care. He's not like my dad served in the Navy. We are, so we are not, 30 years. So we're not like collecting from our trust funds. Every penny that he has, he earned. And then what he decided to do after he had all that money was to talk about poverty. Not to talk about protecting against higher taxes or fighting to make certain that he got his and nobody not worry about anybody else. He turned his attention to making certain that we paid attention to those people that he spent his life representing. The people who try hard to do the right thing and don't somehow get a good shake. Which is why he started. It's not like these. If somebody doesn't believe that he cares about this issue, they need to look at what he's done. You look at a lifetime of work, honestly. Before he got into politics, working with homelessness issues, urban ministries in our hometown was his sort of, in addition to work and doing the coaching and parenting that people do, his charitable activity outside the church was urban ministries, and in that they dealt with homelessness issues in our region, and so that was a long-standing interest of his, and he supported things like. Every year his law firm would do, and he dressed up as Santa Claus is a sight to see. But I do have an entire Santa Claus uniform, better than his partner, who had a very pointed nose and didn't look one bit like Santa Claus. But every year they would have an enormous Christmas for the children who went to a child care center in our projects. And that basically buy them whatever, because they knew their parents weren't going to abuse. We used to do it where we'd do it a family at a time, and then John realized we could do more. You drive around. John talks about Two Americas all the time, and I used to say the way you don't need any lessons on it, even if you don't experience it yourself. Drive around and look at the playgrounds of elementary schools, and you'll see what Two Americas is. Some schools have fabulous playgrounds. The parents have contributed. They've done what's necessary because they were able to. And then you come to a school with a lousy playground, and you know what the economic group is that school is serving. That wasn't good enough for John. So they helped these schools that did it. In John's hometown, which tried to build a library, their first library, they got not much of a tax base. John paid for the children's library there. It's not like, this is all before politics. And before he was, he had talked about politics when he first got out of law school, but there wasn't much discussion during this time. But this was in his heart. But then he had this bigger platform, Now he had a name people knew, and he had the capacity to bring leaders on poverty issues together, to talk about, we think of this as, so many people think of it, as I was saying today to someone else, as poverty as a linear problem. It's not. It's, you need lateral thinking because the problem is so wide, and you've got to come at it from so many different angles to solve it. And John was able to think about those and to think about the best solutions because he had this name that allowed him to gather these great minds and the great practitioners together to deal with the issue. And you talked about poverty. You could do something. It's like somebody had lit a light in him. He just perked up, and what do you think I could do? And he was so excited. It was such an incredible difference because the passion came from inside him. But unless somebody saw it happen, maybe they don't believe it. And I don't know what to tell you about that. I will tell you, I'm going to throw in something which it's important for me to throw in because I have now heard it in a number of places. This being the kind of sort of undercover criticism you see sometimes coming from other campaigns, honestly. One thing I know come from other campaigns because I've had people actually ask me about it. And that is, I am not too sick for John to either be a candidate for president or to be president. I'm getting nothing but encouraging news from my doctors. They're looking at things that mean nothing to me, but I got nothing but encouragement from them. I'm a terrible liar, so I promise you. and I would never tell this. Even if I were getting bad news, there's no prognosis that would put me under before November 2008. But honestly, I'm expecting to see my children graduate from high school, and including my 7-year-old. If we get a president who will really fight for NIH funding on research, that not only me but my sisters will benefit. Not only, would that be an I or a me?
That's right.
I was thinking of it. We'll benefit. You go like this. It's not that though. No, you got to pay attention to this. Anyway,
I'm a teacher.
It actually makes me mad that people are saying this, but I just want to make certain, and I probably do some clarifying over the next few days while we're in the state to make that clear to people. So I just wanted to throw that in, since this was sort of one of those undercover attacks. I throw it in on that one, on that question.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You can.
I'd just like to say something, and first thank you for coming and thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
And I'm so upset by what I heard the person just said.
Yeah.
And I would really like to just add one little thing, which is that tell the person that is Republican propaganda at its most insidious. And tell the person that the greatest presidents we've had have been even wealthier than John. RFK, not RFK.
FDR.
FDR.
He was ruling class, not even just rich.
I mean, the greatest social programs have come from the wealthiest presidents, and there's no
Right, and you know, the big trust buster was, you know, Republican, but Teddy Roosevelt.
Exactly.
You know, and
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I was so
it's
shocked.
no way to discredit him. It's just absolutely.
Right.
I'm sorry, I just
no, it's all right. I'm glad you feel passionately about it, and that you gave me that additional ammunition to use. So.
Blow away.
How much money you have when you're running for office. It's who you're taking money from.
You're exactly right. I'm going to have a much better answer next time.